Hi, my name is Alex.
And I'm Andrew, and welcome to another episode of Car Show Television.
Hi, my name's Jim Burnham. This is my 1938 Chevrolet four-door sedan. I've had it only for about 7 months, but I got it from a fellow up in Fort Pierce, Mike Gettler, and I'll tell you what I like about it. This car is just a fun car. It has the paint job that makes people smile, has a big engine. I just have fun with it. It's a driver. And I just thoroughly enjoy going out and have people smile and wave, and I think they may appreciate kind of the Hot Wheels paint scheme. It has a big block 454 with a 700 R4 transmission and a 10-bolt Chevy rear end. And I just looked at it and said, that looks like a fun car to drive, and that's what it turned out to be. It's a fun car.
Coming up on Car Show Television. Welcome back to Car Show Television.
My name's Gary Goodro. I reside in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, and this is my 1972 401 Wmer Javelin AMX. In 1972, I bought my first one right off the showroom floor in Oklahoma City. There were 50 of these made for a street sale and another 30 for racing. In 1974, I totaled out my first one, and I spent about 17 years trying to pick up another one. I was looking and finally gave up on finding a 798 Z code Ram Air car, so I was going to fly up to Michigan to buy a 390, and this car came up in one of the Hemmings magazines. I called the gentleman, he had it in his collection up in New Hampshire, and a friend of mine verified that it was a 798 Z code Ram Air car, so I canceled my flight to Michigan and bought the car sight unseen, and was pleasantly surprised when it was delivered in Palm Beach Gardens some 15 years ago, and as you see it now, it was totally original with 74,000 miles on it. Well, my buddy had an SC Scrambler, the red, white, and blue shoebox Rambler Scrambler, and he was a Rambler guy. And he took me to the dealership, and when I saw this on the showroom floor, coming back from the service and from overseas, I just had to have it. It was fast, it was loud, and I was proud. It's a 401 Ram Air. It has a NASCAR Trans Am suspension, close ratio steering, and a Hurst 4-speed with 391 gears in the rear. It was just made for the street, and it'll still hurt you today.
Greyhound Adoptions in Loxahatchee, Florida. Rescue's been around about 11 years, and we work on getting dogs off the track and into their forever homes. Elite Greyhound Adoptions, and our phone number is 561-252-2216.
My name is Dave Wmer from Palm Beach, Florida, and this is my '69 Camaro. I've had for about 15 years. It's a total frame-off restore. We went through every piece of metal, every nut, every bolt on this car has been replaced. This is about the 4th motor that I've had in there. It's a big block Chevrolet out of my Fountain, my 1988 Fountain. It's a 509 cubic inch. It's a 502 Merc Cruiser with 800 horsepower. It has a 871 blower on it with twin 750 carburetors, and the whole inside of the car, the floor pan, the trunk, underneath the car, the frame rails, everything's been reinforced for 850 horsepower. It has the new suspension, the low ride suspension on it, and a 400 turbo transmission with nitrous oxide. And the interior is fully customized in Southwest Palm Beach here. It's like nothing you've ever experienced. It's all throttle. As soon as you hit the gas, it's instantaneous. It'll break the seat. It's been slicked out. I've had the car 15 years. It actually went into the paint shop for about 3 years, and I was actually in the hospital at the time I got it out, and it's been with me for a long time. It's part of the family, and it's not going anywhere. A lot of fun to drive, and a lot of fun to take to the car shows. I've had hot rods since I was 13. I bought my first 57 Chevy off my uncle for $300. I hot rodded it up, black with flames. Murphy's Paint and Body did that, and I've been hot rodding ever since.
You ready? We're ready.
Welcome back to Car Show Television.
You know, we're here today at the Amstell collection in Boca Raton, and Berry Amstel was kind enough to open his doors and show us what really amounts to be an incredible collection here of not only exotics, but other classic American collectibles. It was a great day shooting here today, wasn't it, Andrew?
Oh, we had a great time, and I mean, he's got a really incredible collection of some really neat cars, and we're looking forward to sharing it with you, our audience.
My name is Berry Amstel, and I'm here in Boca right now where we're filming at, but originally I'm a Pennsylvania boy from up in the country. We're here looking at my cars today, and I'm quite pleased that you're willing to come and look at them with me, because that's something I really enjoy. You know, I had actually a twofold reason for making this little man cave. I collected some artwork, and I needed a place to keep it, and it was getting more than I had room for in my home. I also had a desire and a passion for automobiles, and I had a need to keep those as well. So the two came together, and that's what you're going to see today as you look around in my little man cave. Right here we're standing by a 550 Maranello Ferrari. This is kind of a gentleman's race car. It's a 12-cylinder, near 500 horsepower, 6-speed touring automobile, I guess is what they would call it. These cars came with their own luggage usually, and just a lot of spirit, a lot of fun to drive, and I enjoyed this car. It's very similar to the car that's alongside it, which is an Aston Martin Vanquish. It actually is, again, a V12 engine, a little over 500 horsepower. As an F1 transmission, which is very similar to the cars that they would use in F1 Formula Racing. It's a 6-speed geared transmission with a full integrated clutch system that operates off hydraulics and electric solenoids. And the gear selection has changed, like in a lot of the automatic transmission with the little paddle shifts, except when you push that lever, it makes a gear change in 40 milliseconds, actually disengages the clutch, selects the gear, and then re-engages the clutch. south of that one a little bit is a Jaguar. It's known as an XJ220. There were very few of these cars made. Originally, the design was for a supercar back in 1988 for the Paris Auto Show. A bunch of the engineers at Jaguar on their own on Saturday afternoon designed the car, and it was known as a Saturday Afternoon Project. They built the car in time for the '88 Paris Auto Show. The car was very well received. The name of the car is an XJ220, as I said. The name was derived from the design that they were trying to achieve, which was 220 mile an hour. They were going to sell for about $750,000. It would take about $250,000 worth of deposit to order one. That was naturally all in pounds, knowing the British. It took over 2.5 years to design and finish the car for sale. And by the time they did that, they had lost the V12 engine, which originally was in the car, because of weight and horsepower. And the all-wheel drive system also had to go by the way. The car became a 6-cylinder twin turbocharged two-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive car. And it also had gone up another $250,000. So now the car was near $1 million, which naturally, as you might expect, started all the lawsuits. This car was number 37, which was one of the first cars produced, and was part of the lawsuit. So 70 some of the cars were put away in a warehouse in England until the lawsuit was settled in 2000. I wound up buying this car from a gentleman in California. The car was never marketed in this country, but a few cars were brought here as gray market automobiles. The engine, uniquely for Jaguar, is a mid-engine design. So the engine actually is aft of the cockpit area and sits in the middle of the rear portion of the automobile. Twin turbocharged, a specially designed hand-built V6 engine. Just to the right of this car is another historic car, which was the GT40. This was Ford's marketing design of their GT40 back from the 60s, and was a car they produced for 2 years. This car, they made a little over 4,000 cars. Originally, they told the vendors they were going to produce between 400 to 7,500 cars. At the end of the first year, Ford had lost so much money producing this marketing ploy that they decided they were going to cancel the rest of the cars that they were going to produce. At that time, they were told by their vendors they were going to be sued because they had geared up to make at least 4,000 cars. So Ford did make the 4,000 automobiles and produced a 2006 automobile as well. This is one of the original cars. They're all exactly the same automobile except for color, and a very few options. The stripe was an option. It was about $5,000. The radio system was about a $4,000 option, and the wheels, again, were about a $3,500 option. The colors were, I think, about 5 or 6 colors, and then the very famous Heritage or Golf race team colors, which everybody has probably seen, which are the blue and orange version of the car, which was about a $1,500 or $15,000 option on the car. This engine in this car was a 4.4 hand-built aluminum Ford V8 motor. It's a supercharged, actually mid-engine, 6-speed transmission. The car has actually been clocked at over 212 mile an hour, which made it a pretty formidable race car, and a lot of these cars are used in competition even today. We have one of GM's favorite little cars that they came up with, which was their '63 Corvette. It was the only year that they made in this body style, which is the C2 style, a split window. If you walk around to the back of the car, you'll see that there's a bar that runs down through the sloped back window of the car, which gave it the name the split window. This car is unique, and as most of my cars in the collection, what makes them unique is there were very few of these cars produced. This car, being a fuel-injected car, even though there were over 10,000 coupes made, there were very few of the fuel-injected cars that were made or kept originally fuel-injected, because the fuel injection system was very touchy and was very hard to keep operating in good condition. I've been able also to collect just a lot of eclectic things from little model cars to gas pumps and pedal cars and a lot of those types of things. I've been very fortunate to be able to find these types of things and be able to afford and collect them. There's a few more cars that I wanted to show you. The Corvettes, not to miss this one, is the grandfather, I guess you would want to call it, of the big block Corvette. This is the 1965. Everybody is pretty much familiar with the 1967 427, 435 horse Corvette, which is very desirable. This was the originator of the big block. This actually had a 396 cubic inch motor in it. At the time, GM had a 400 cubic inch maximum. So they were not going to put anything bigger than that in. They weren't really making anything much larger than that. But this was going to be their first race car that they started to produce. This car being a coupe, there were very few of them made. They made 749 of the coupes. Beside the yellow car where we started was a project that actually was started by Studebaker. The Studebaker Motor Division contacted a designer who his fame to claim at that point was the wide-mouth peanut butter jar, which any of you are young enough remember sticking your finger in and around the neck of the peanut butter jar to get the last little bit out. He eliminated that for us and made the big wide-mouth peanut butter jar. Just about the time they finished the design on this car, and it is somewhat designed after the SSK 29 Mercedes, Studebaker went out of business. He did have a friend in the car business as well, who was a GM dealer, who said that he would be willing to market the car but not with a Studebaker motor. So that was the beginning of the Excalibur and the Corvette connection. At that point, all the cars received Corvette engines, even though the Series 1, which is what this car is, actually has a Studebaker chassis, suspension. It does have a Corvette drivetrain. 15, 20 years later, as a Series 4 actually manufactured its own chassis, its own frame, used A-frames, open axle differentials, as well as the engine and transmission from the Corvette, and continued on with the heritage of the Chevrolet or Corvette connection with their motor car. Most people will recognize the red car. It's the Prancing Horse. It's a Testarossa. The car kind of was made famous back during the 80s, during the time of the Miami Vice series with Don Johnson. They started out with a 365 GTB, but eventually became acquainted with the newer car, which was a Testarossa, and that would be this car right here. These cars were 12-cylinder. They were a flat Boxster style engine, meaning that there were 6 cylinders to either side, and the engine laid flat on the bottom so that it didn't have much height. They were 5-speed transmissions. Di Damaso was making a car called the Pantera. They had made a car before this called the Mangusta. Used a little bit smaller engine. They used a Ford engine in their Italian design car. However, in the Panteras, all Panteras were manufactured with 351 cubic inch Cleveland-based V8 motors. This car was produced and sent to this country for about 4 years back in the 70s. And then they started producing the car again for about 3 years in the 80s. This is my little yellow Lotus. This is a 2002. It is an anniversary car. It's a 25th anniversary. What made this car kind of unique is most of the 25th anniversary cars were silver, 25 being the silver anniversary. This car happened to be produced in yellow with a magnolia or yellow interior. It was car number 40 of only 100 produced. So thanks for coming and visiting today.
Hey guys, this is Alex at Car Show Television. You know, South Florida is really a mecca for the collectible, antique, muscle car, modified, drifting car area. And man, we are just so blessed to have so many car shows every weekend here in South Florida. Car Show Television is all about covering those events in our area in South Florida for you guys, the viewers. What we want to do though is not just show the shiny paint and the beautiful chrome. We want to hear the stories behind these cars. What we want to do is really capture the emotional connection that we as owners have with these cars and what drives us, pun intended, to own these cars. So tune in every week here on Car Show Television and capture not just the beauty of these cars, but the emotional connection that we have with them.